Hornets, he's going to be more higher owned than 12.5%. Boucher is also showing a good value, but he's
timeless like galaxies.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily Grind Fantasy official live stream for this NBA and 9-game slate. Cannot wait to break down this slate. This stream is officially sponsored by Jock Market, one of the newest ways to play daily fantasy sports. Just like the stock market, you can buy and sell players depending on how they finish. You can make money just like the stock market. So, guys, the format for this entire stream will change just a little bit for you guys who have always tuned in. Thank you so much. If you guys want to sign up for Jock Market right now, at the very end of the stream, we'll be covering all of our favorite plays in Jock Market for about 30 minutes. Therefore, we're going to be cutting the stream short just a little bit too early, around, I don't know, about 45 minutes from now, and then the last 30 minutes we will be covering Jock Market content. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can, but we will save time to update the Patreon, also answer all the questions inside the Discord. Jock Market, sign up now using the code DGF50. And again, we're going to be giving you guys all the plays, so just feel free to sit back and watch us break down some of our favorite plays. That will be at the very end of the stream. We're going to focus on Draftkings right now. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it, TJ. So,
hi.
Right now, we have a 9-game slate and a lot of injury news that has been broken down throughout the entire day. Sorry, I have a lot going on the right side here. Right now, Boston just ruled out Jaylen Brown, and also Marcus Smart is officially out. Pritchard's now back. So we will be breaking down Boston. But right now, the chalk is going to be on OKC. Do you want to start there?
Yeah, let's do that because I haven't been able to do Boston. I was about to do that right
now. I actually have Boston. So once we switch to Boston, I'll go ahead and lead the charge there. So also, we are starting a little bit early. I do get that. So hopefully you guys are just now tuning in. I just want to remind everybody this stream is sponsored by Jock Market. We will be breaking down some Jock Market content a little bit later on in the stream. Diallo. 34 minutes, 63.5% owned, 7.8 point per dollar value, averaging 1.24 fantasy points per minute. TJ, is he the most obvious play on the slate?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
Yep, that is it. Even with a slight price increase, I think he was $4,500 last slate. Now he is the offense on this OKC team and a pace-up spot. So yeah, I do think he's one of the more obvious plays on the slate. Justin Jackson next in line. TJ, 51.6% ownership. He was a little bit lesser owned earlier on in the day, but now he's almost matching that of Diallo. Are you a fan of Justin Jackson today?
Yeah, I think he offers some cheap value there. I'm a little hesitant, Matt, but if you are going there for cash as a last piece, I don't hate it because he is going to probably play around 30 minutes with all these guys being out, especially now Dort being out, along with SGA, and George Hill. So yeah, I do like him. He's going to be chalky, and it totally makes sense to me. We're looking at a guy. Sorry, I have 1,000 things up right now. I think I'm good. Now we have Justin Jackson. So gets a little bit of a usage bump, Matt. 0.89 fantasy point per minute, 19% usage rate. So if he's going to play 30 minutes at 3,200, like hit value, should be able to. Right. Obviously love Diallo as a cash lock. Maladin is a guy that I'm also interested in at 5K. Gets a 3.2% usage bump with all these guys off the floor. 0.82 fantasy point per minute. Should start in the backcourt alongside Diallo. So I like both of those guys for cash. Another guy that's kind of popping, Matt, is going to be Kenrich Williams at 3,500. That should play mid 20 minutes. He gets a 1.3% usage bump. He's a 0.86 fantasy point per minute off the bench. So I really have a lot of interest there, especially if Kenrich Williams starts. I don't know who is going to start at the 3. I think he might, but that is yet to be determined. And then again, Horford and Bazley. We saw what Bazley did last game with SGA. With SGA and George Hill off the floor, and then Lou Dort ended up getting hurt. So now Bazley at 5,700 is going to carry some ownership. I like him for cash, and then Al Horford as well. I have a lot of interest in OKC. There's a lot of great plays here.
Hold on real quick. Somebody just said Maladin is out. Oh no. He is out. It is health protocols. You know what? That actually does scare me, because if that's a health protocol thing, I want to see how many of those players follow suit on that team.
He just got listed out. Yeah.
Yep.
That game's going to get canceled.
You think that's going to get canceled? Yeah. That's what I was about to say. So because it's a health protocol thing, do you know what, TJ? For the Jock Market, you might want to avoid those guys right now. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So they technically now, with Diallo getting ruled out, Matt, they only have 8 eligible guys in their rotation that I'm seeing between Darius Miller, Muscala, Isaiah Roby, Kenrich Williams, Al Horford, Darius Bazley, Justin Jackson, and Diallo. So I would assume that game, I mean, if one other guy is out because of tracings, then that game's probably going to get postponed. Let's go back.
So real quick, somebody, I just had to rip on this comment real quick. Rip to all my lineups. This person says, well, if your lineups are already dead before the slate starts, you probably shouldn't be playing. That's a pretty funny comment. Yeah, rip to all my lineups. Yeah, you guys know you can switch up your lineups before it starts, right? Okay.
No, he knows.
I know. All right, so OKC, yeah, if that game does get canceled, that sucks, because there's still a lot of value all over the slate, but let's go ahead and just bounce around while we can. Let's assume that game is still playing, TJ, and if Maladin is ruled out, we will revisit these guys. We're going to assume up until we get the official news that they are not playing. And then we will break down that team a little bit later on once we get minute updates.
They don't have a point guard.
I mean, you could play point guard, right?
No, I can't dribble and run at the same time.
It says PK.
I'm very athletic.
So,
it's just my
hold on.
basketball
This game might have
is
just
not
gotten
great.
canceled.
I'm sorry?
The game might have just gotten canceled. Hold on.
We'll keep an eye on the game, the Thunder. But as of now, the Thunder have the required 8 available players needed to play Friday. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, if they have an 8-man rotation, Matt, line it up.
Yeah, well, that brings up a good point though, TJ, because one thing in DFS is, at least for DraftKings, once a team or once a game gets canceled after lock, you can't switch off those players if you have them. So that brings up a very interesting point. I guess at this point, if we don't hear any news after lock or up until lock, is the risk really worth it?
So Matt,
that's tough.
That is very interesting what you say. I think you can go about it 2 ways. I think you can be risky and play these OKC guys. And then if you do play, at least on DraftKings, if you play somebody from this game and the game gets postponed, whatever your net losses are, you get refunded by DraftKings. That's what they did last game.
That's what they did last time. That is correct.
Postponed. Correct. So, if we're teetering on OKC and Minnesota playing or not, like maybe take a chance in a couple lineups, stacking OKC. And, if that game plays.
Do you know what, TJ? I have an interesting strategy as well. If you play guys from the very first games and they just start crapping the bed, just switch to all the OKC guys. Because then you get refunded. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely genius. Yeah, you get refunded. I don't know if they're like, haha, we know what you were doing, like F off. But no, I love that strategy. It's
that could actually work.
And
I mean, because that 7:30 game between Brooklyn. All right, yeah, let's keep moving on. All right, so let's move on. Do you want to move on to Toronto?
Now we don't know what to do.
Yeah, now we have no idea. Yeah.
I'm teetering. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to move on to Toronto?
Sure.
Let's just I feel like we have so many teams to cover. Let's just bounce up and down all over these first couple games. So right now the over under on this Brooklyn Toronto game is at a 239.5 over under. I think just regardless, you're gonna have to have some kind of piece from this game. I don't care what side it is. But Fred VanVleet does pop again. Based on what he did last game, I assume he's going to be a little bit higher owned than 11.8%. TJ, I don't know if you can agree with that. And his pace-up spot, he still averages 1.34 fantasy points per minute, and he's 11.8% owned. 6.1 point per dollar value. What are your thoughts on the Toronto Raptors and this pace-up spot?
Yeah, it's a fantastic spot, Matt, going up against Brooklyn. I feel like a broken record continuously saying that every time Brooklyn's on the slate, man. It's definitely a tournament game that you want to try and target and hone in on and get some pieces. And Fred VanVleet is the obvious play for me when it comes to the Raptors. Like you alluded to, with OG off the floor, he gets a 3.6% usage bump. He's a 1.34 fantasy point per minute, 28% usage rate, highest on the team. I have him pegged for 50 DraftKings points. Yep. We saw him absolutely erupt last game.
He's going to do that again, right?
Not sitting here saying that Fred VanVleet is going to. Is it Roto? That's like, okay. Not saying that he's gonna go off again for 78 DraftKings points, but do I think he can get you 45 plus? Sure. And is he cheaper? Is he cheap enough where 45 plus at his price tag is good? Yeah. So I do like him, especially in this pace-up match against Brooklyn. I also don't mind Siakam and Lowry. Those are the 3 guys that I'll be targeting. But if I am landing anybody in cash, I think VanVleet's going to be my guy.
Okay. So you do consider him cash viable, but not a lock, is what I've gathered from that.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. Anybody else you're considering from this team in this pace-up spot?
Siakam and Lowry.
Siakam and Lowry. Okay, got it. All right, so let's switch over to the other side of the ball. Are you taking either one of these superstars here from Irving, Harden, or Durant?
If I were to, it would be Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant definitely passes the eye test here. $9,600. Is he going to be cash viable?
I'm not going to go there now.
Got it. All right, so all GPP options from there. Let's go ahead and start going down the board here. In terms of ownership, let's go straight to the Orlando Magic. Without Aaron Gordon, some of these guys get a nice usage boost, specifically Vucevic and Fournier. Out of those 2 guys, who are you starting in cash? Are you considering them both? Or are you fading those guys?
I honestly think you can get both, Matt. If I am taking one, it's obviously going to be Vucevic. With those guys off the floor, like you just alluded to, I can't find them on my sheet now. I'm all over the place. 3.6% usage bump, 1.4 fantasy point per minute, and just an absolutely absurd 32% usage rate from a big man.
Yeah.
I have him pegged for 52.2 DraftKings points. Really good matchup too, going up against the Chicago Bigs. They are home dogs as well, Matt. So I really like Vooch tonight at 8,500. That price tag is way too cheap.
Way too cheap
with guys like Aaron Gordon off the floor and, a medium Michael Carter-Williams as well, but mostly Aaron Gordon. So yes, I do like Vooch. And again, I do like Fournier as well at 6,200. 2.8% usage bump with those guys off the floor, 1.18 fantasy point per minute, 28.5% usage rate, second highest on the team just behind Vooch. So I have him pegged at 38.8 DraftKings points. So I honestly don't hate either one of those guys for cash. If I have to pick one, it's definitely going to be Vooch. I'll also have some interest in a guy like Cole Anthony, but probably more of a tournament play. So for cash, I'm locking in Vooch. If I get Fournier in my lineup as well, I'm happy with it.
Okay, so Vucevic is definitely a cash lock, and Fournier is cash viable, in your opinion?
Yes.
Completely agree with everything you just said then. Yeah, and Chicago in this matchup, TJ, we're not used to seeing Chicago in a close matchup. We know that when they are in very close matchups, the over-unders are usually pretty high. So that's the one thing to kind of take into consideration. We love targeting bigs against Chicago regardless, and now when you add the price tag of $8,500 and the usage boost on top of Vucevic, and the most obvious play on the slate by far, should be an absolute smash spot. Let's go ahead and flip over to the other side of the ball, because based on what I just said, when they are in close matchups, these guys do score a lot of points. Zach LaVine gets a nice usage bump, a 5.7 point per dollar value, and $8,400. If this is a high-scoring affair, if it stays competitive, you got to think he hits that and then a lot more. What are your thoughts on Zach LaVine tonight?
I like him, Matt. It's probably going to be more of a tournament play for me opposed to a cash play. With Wendell Carter and Otto Porter off the floor, we're looking at a guy that gets a 2.6% usage bump in LaVine, 1.32 fantasy point per minute, 32% usage rate. I have him pegged for 48.75 DraftKings points right now, so I really do like Zach LaVine. I don't know if I'm going to make him a cash priority, but again, if he's a last piece for me, like if this game's going to be competitive, I do like Zach LaVine. But again, more of a tournament play for me currently. I have some interest in Patrick Williams. He was a guy that I was pretty vocal about last stream when they were on it, Matt. I think he was a little bit undervalued with those injuries that they had at 3,600 against the Knicks. He did get a little bit of a price bump here at 4K, but if he does start, he's a 2.9% usage bump with those guys off the floor, 0.79 fantasy point per minute. So I have him pegged for 24.4 DraftKings points, which is 6 times value. So I don't hate Patrick Williams if he plays 30 minutes. Denzel Valentine is also a guy that I do have my eye on, but again, tournament play for me, 1.02 fantasy point per minute off the bench. So I think if he can get 20 minutes at 3,400, he makes for a good punt tournament play.
Got it. So I think Zach LaVine is definitely more of a GPP option as well. Patrick Williams, $4,000 projected in 30 minutes. We have him at a 5.9 point per dollar value. So yes, I do think these are valid GPP options from Chicago and also Orlando with Evan Fournier for sure.
And Matt, it's tough to not mention Thad Young with what he's done in the last 4 games, especially with Wendell Carter out. The price tag is creeping up there, but I think he's going to be at low ownership. So again, wouldn't take him in cash, but like a tournament play, yeah, I mean, he's been very, very good. Tougher matchup against Vooch, but I still think, I still like him at that 6,200 price tag.
For sure. I completely agree with you there. Again, more GPP options. Actually, next in line, TJ, ownership-wise, are going to be your Boston Celtics. So start computing numbers. I'm going to go over them right now. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Langford are all officially out for these guys. So taking a look at the usage board, no surprises here. It's going to be Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum at the very top of the board. And 33 minutes of sample size, Kemba Walker's averaging 1.68 fantasy points per minute and a 43.3% usage. Yes, probably not going to do that, but technically his ownership has gone up a lot, TJ. So Kemba Walker is definitely a cash viable option. I do like Jason Tatum a little bit more just because he is projected to play 38 minutes, 34.4% usage, and a 1.42 fantasy point per minute output. Based on the usage increase, we have Kemba Walker getting in that's outstanding 14.2% usage boost.
I see that now.
And a 0.52 fantasy point per minute. Yeah. But that makes sense because you're taking away 2 of the more highest offensive firepower weapons here on this team from Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, and then substituting him with Kemba Walker, and Kemba Walker can ball out himself. Jason Tatum, 3.5% boost in usage and a 0.12 fantasy point per minute boost. So definitely am a fan of these 2 players. Out of those guys, I definitely do prefer Jason Tatum, and they're both showing the exact ownership right now, TJ, of 17.7%. So toss them up. Who do you like more between those 2?
Tatum.
Tatum. Okay.
Yeah.
For the minutes, right?
Yeah, I like both though, Matt. Honestly, if I land on both these guys in cash, I know it's a tough matchup against the Clippers. Like Tatum's going to see Paul George, he's going to see Kawhi. Even still at 8,900, getting those minutes, and with guys like JB and Marcus Smart off the floor, then yeah, I find it hard to believe that I won't be rostering Jason Tatum in cash. So I do like him. I also do like him at 6,500. Man, I feel like a lot of the offense is going to fall on the shoulders of both those guys. Yeah, it is very cheap. Could play 32, 34 minutes, maybe. So
he has
especially,
to. But they do have Pritchard back, so that's a big thing to consider too.
Yeah, Pritchard back, but I don't think he's going to play too many minutes, honestly. He'll probably play like 16 to 18.
Sure.
So, yeah, Tatum and Kemba I have interest in. I'm going to have interest in Tice too, man. Projected at 28 minutes, 3.4% usage bump. Again, a little bit of a smaller sample size, but a 1.02 fantasy point per minute. And I'm also going to have interest in Tristan Thompson. So those would probably be two tournament plays that I have in Tice and Tristan Thompson. But, yeah, Tatum and Kemba for cash. I like both of them.
Yeah. All right. So I kind of want to bring it all together real quick, guys. OKC, yes, they only have 8 available players right now. We're getting a ton of questions in the chat. Is Malden out? Yes, he is out, okay? Yeah, right now, we're going to assume they are playing. That has really big postponement concerns right now, just with them having only 8 available players. One more player that drops, they're going to have to postpone that game. So we will be paying attention to that. Right now, they are drawing all the chalk. Absolutely all the chalk right now. So right now, load up on OKC. But again, like I said, postponement concerns all the way around. If we don't hear any news about that game till after 7, well, if that game's canceled after 7, then you're stuck with players that you simply can't get points. So you will be refunded from the contest. At least that's what DraftKings did last time. Hopefully they do that again. We were talking about that at the beginning of the stream. But yeah, for the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker, very obvious plays. I think Jason Tatum should be a near cash lock, TJ. 17.7% ownership. I think that's a little low, and especially with all these OKC concerns. And then Kemba Walker, yeah, I think he's definitely a great last piece. Another great option, actually, Daniel Tice does get a Slate fantasy point per minute boost, TJ, $5,000, and he gets a favorable matchup versus the Clippers. It's funny, you always target guys against Boston, but you always target guys against the Clippers in terms of the big men. So both sides kind of stink here in terms of the big men matchups. So a 5.7 point per dollar value, 28.52 points. I think that's my only other option I'd consider from this team. Do you like anybody else?
For who were you just talking about?
Boston.
Okay, I just blacked out. Sorry. Yeah, I'll probably take some stabs at some of these cheaper guys, maybe like Semi Ojeleye, Grant Williams, and Javonte Green, but those are just strictly tournament plays. If I'm looking anywhere, Matt, it's going to be Tatum and Kemba for cash, and then Tyson, Tristan Thompson for tournaments.
Yeah, Hudson Gray we just got a question from TJ that I really want to address before we go forward. You can make pivots though, right? Yeah, you cannot make pivots off of OKC if they are postponed after lock. You are stuck with those players and your lineup, unfortunately. I personally think that's a little dumb. I think you should be able to swap off of them. But if they're in your lineup and you're stuck with them, you do get refunded, but you don't get to play the entirety of that night, and just you're probably not going to cash, especially in GPPs with people who have zeros. So yeah, you do not get points for guys that are postponed after lock.
Right.
All right, TJ. I guess we can start bouncing around because there's no more teams to really hone in on unless you see some. Right now, Sexton is questionable. That will definitely shake up things. We have.
Yeah. I'd like to touch base on the Pacers.
Pacers, yes, they are with just because of the price tags, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear it.
Yeah, so no Levert, obviously, and no Warren. And Oladipo has left town. So Sabonis at 8,600, Matt, going up against the Pelicans in an up-pace type matchup. I really do like him at 8,600. He gets a 1.1% usage bump with those guys off the floor, 1.31 fantasy point per minute, 26.4% usage rate, second highest in the team behind Brogdon. So I currently have Sabonis pegged for 49 DraftKings points. So just that. The matchup that they have against the Pelicans, the really cheap price tag at 8,600. This game should be competitive. I really like Sabonis as a cash play. I honestly don't hate Brogdon either at 8K. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I do think both those guys are cash viable. If I'm picking between one, I'm going Sabonis. But also, if you're landing on Brogdon, I do not hate it. We touched base on Orlando. We touched base on the Brooklyn and Toronto game. Teron Prince, Matt, I don't know what you have him for ownership on Fantasy Cruncher.
Taurean Prince?
Yeah.
Let me check.
10%. Okay, yeah. So more of a tournament play, but he's really cheap at 4,500. So just a guy that I'm kind of keeping my eye on starting at the 4. He does pop a lot on the sheet. Charlotte also, I do have some interest in. It's a really tough matchup against Utah, so probably some more tournament plays. I don't see any of them really carrying too much of ownership, Matt. Gordon Hayward currently showing the highest at 10%, but he's projected at 38 minutes at 7,500. With PJ Washington off the floor, he doesn't get a usage bump, but he's a 1.1 fantasy point per minute. Have him pegged for 42 DraftKings points, so I do like Gordon Hayward in tournaments. I also have some interest in Zeller in tournaments at 6,100. Obviously, a really tough matchup against Gobert down low, but they are going to need his size. So again, a tournament play there. Rozier, I think, is really cheap at 5,900. He gets a 2% usage bump with PJ Washington off the floor, 1 fantasy point per minute on the dot, 24.2% usage rate, second highest on the team behind Gordon Hayward. So I do have some interest there in Charlotte, but tournament plays only. Yeah, sorry, I just kind of wanted to steal some.
Go ahead, keep going.
Some stuff. Okay, gonna keep going. Bradley Beal, Matt, I think is really cheap at 9,500. With Raul Neto off the floor, he's a 1.46 fantasy point per minute. Now, again, wouldn't go there in cash, but him and Westbrook, I think, are really good tournament plays in a tough matchup against Miami. A higher over/under than I thought it would be. Currently at a 229, Washington on the road as 7-point dogs. So I have some interest there in both of those guys. I do think they're cheap. If they're going to stay competitive tonight against Miami, I think it's going to fall a lot on Beal and Westbrook. I also kind of like Butler at 8,300 on the other side of the ball. I think that price tag is a little too cheap against Washington. So somebody I do have an eye on. Matt, another guy that is popping right now on the sheet is going to be Naz Reid. And I really am afraid to talk about him at 4,500.
I like them as well.
He's a 1.14 fantasy point per minute with Cat and Culver off the floor. Currently showing 13% ownership. I like the matchup against OKC. Again, we don't know if this game is going to get postponed, so tread lightly when it comes to Minnesota and OKC at this point. But if this game's good to go, Naz Reid against a depleted OKC just roster in general, I do have some interest there, especially if he does start, which he should, pegged at 30 minutes, 1.14 fantasy point per minute with those guys off the floor, 21% usage rate, which is higher than I thought for the big man. I haven't pegged for 34 DraftKings points, so I do have some interest there. Jeremy Grant is cheap. Miles Bridges we didn't talk about Phoenix. If you want to go there quick,
you're controlling it right now, TJ. Go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going then. Mikal Bridges, Matt, with Crowder and Saric is still out for Phoenix. Projected at 35 minutes, gets a 1% usage bump, 0.87 fantasy point per minute. Having pegged for 30.75 DraftKings points. So I do like Mikal Bridges, honestly. Only showing 10% ownership, so I'm really gonna like him in tournaments. And that's it. That's really all I have. That's all right. That's all I got.
So
I'm talking.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just trying to address some concerns that we had about the promo code for Jock Market, which we will be covering in about 5 to 10 minutes, guys. If you haven't already, please sign up on Jock Market. The easiest way to play fantasy sports now. Similar to the stock market, you buy and sell players based on their price tag. If they finish better than their projections, you make money. Simple as that. The good thing about Jock Market is you can throw as much money or as little money as you want. And like I said, it's just like the stock market. If your player does well, you make a lot more money. DGF50. If that code does not work for you, because some people are having some problems with that code, DGF. It's just DGF. Absolutely. And you guys get a $50 bonus when signing up, and this is only good till Monday, so take advantage now. We're going to be covering that in just about 5 to 10 minutes. So let's bring this all together, TJ, before we go on and transition to that, and then I go to fix the Patreon.
Have to fix the cheat sheet that I effed up. Yes.
No, I wasn't going to say that, but I was going to go switch all the Patreon content stuff. Let's go ahead and bring it all together. Your overall take on the slate with what to do with OKC as of right now, TJ. I want to hear it because this is a good time to talk about it with 165 people watching.
So Matt, it is pretty tough to try and figure out here. If OKC plays, okay, they only have 8 guys in their rotation right now, and they're quote unquote good to go. As long as we don't have any tracing issues with Maladin now being ruled out, I have so much interest in literally everybody on OKC. I wouldn't be surprised if I had 4 guys, 5 guys in my one lineup for OKC. Yeah, I mean, we got Diallo, Baisley, Kenrick Williams now, Justin Jackson, Al Horford, all going to play 30-plus minutes. So it's just a lot of guys that are going to be in this tight rotation with only 8 guys available. So if this game is good to go, Matt, I do like the strategy that you implemented. So you want to repeat that? Because I thought it was really interesting, your thought process there when it came to the OKC game.
I'm sorry, say that again. Sorry. The thought process, you mean the strategy that I was talking about?
Yes, your
Yeah.
strategy that you think you can implement here when it comes to the OKC game.
Yeah, so here's my thought on this. If that game does not postpone before lock, I would load up on the couple teams that we talked about early on, TJ, specifically with the Chicago-Orlando game, and also Sabonis from Indiana. Those are some great plays. Load up on those guys because Zach LaVine's in a great spot, Vucevic, Sabonis, and you might even want to get, 4 or 5 players from there, and then load up on the back end guys from OKC, because if those guys do flop, pretty early, just load up on the OKC guys and you get all your money back if the OKC guys do postpone. So
I don't know if,
but you can switch off with them. But you can switch off with them if they get off to a good start.
I think once the game gets postponed, it's postponed. I don't know if you can switch off of them even if the game hasn't started yet.
Say that again.
When the game gets postponed,
you can't switch off of them.
Correct. So,
right.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm saying if the players start sucking, switch to those players.
Yeah, just immediately
switch to immediately all the OKC
abort.
guys.
Just say abort. I'm putting in OKC guys. I'm praying that game gets postponed.
Exactly.
I'm screwed anyways. Love it. Okay.
We've seen that with baseball too. Actually, I've done that with baseball before. Like if my guys start sucking, I switch to the low owned guys that are in some postponement issues because the game could possibly get rained out. And if it doesn't, all those guys are gonna be low owned either. Right. And if you're already screwed, then Matt, Big Buck 2X said that's not gonna work. Yeah, I kind of have my doubts now. Why wouldn't that work?
No, I guess it would work. So, guys, what Matt is saying is take a lot of guys from the strategy that you can implement tonight. Now, we're not saying do it, but if worst comes to worst, if you want to stack the Pelicans-Pacers game and you want to stack the Chicago-Orlando game, right? And let's say both those games are 10-10 after the first quarter, and you're sitting there with 8 guys in those 2 games, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm screwed. Matt is saying keep one spot open. Put in somebody from that OKC Minnesota game. If it gets postponed, you have somebody that has exposure to that game. You would technically get your money back on your net losses.
Boom. Exactly.
I've never.
But
done again, that. Yeah. So maybe don't like.
I'm just saying it's viable.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
It is viable. Okay. So if this OKC game does play, stack OKC. There's so much value there, especially with an 8-man rotation. So that's something that I'm going to be doing. And then for cash, Matt, for fillers, I'm looking at guys like Kemba, Tatum, Vooch, Sabonis, Brogdon. Those would be the guys that I would hone in on there. And Van Vliet.
No. Listen, Big Buck, if they don't postpone the game before lock, which has happened before. Yes, if the game's postponed before lock, obviously you can switch off those guys. But if it's postponed after lock, that's what I'm talking about. Now that we're on the same page, let's continue. TJ, so let's bring it back one more time. Your cash locks, assuming OKC plays right now.
If OKC plays, my cash locks are Diallo, Justin Jackson, Bazley, Kenrick Williams, like everybody on OKC. I want 4 of those guys. I want at least 4 guys on OKC minimum. And then some fillers, Matt. We like Kemba. We like Tatum, Vooch, Sabonis. I do like Brogdon as well. I think Siakam and Van Vliet are viable. And that's kind of where I draw the line. That's what my lineup's going to be. It's going to consist of mostly OKC guys. And then those fillers that I just talked about.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I think you can load up on about 4 to 5 of these guys if OKC does play. Diallo, Jackson. I think Bazley. 1 second, TJ.
Yep. While Matt does that, I am going to. Oh,
sorry.
I'm
good.
No, you're good.
Diallo, Jackson, Bazley. I think Sabonis and Vucevic are going to be some cash fillers as well. So those guys are definitely going to be on my radar. I think Jason Tatum is also a good option for a filler, and same thing with Kemba Walker. Those are going to my cash options.
Sano wants to take a shot on chips for tournaments, so
yeah,
I do like that. Sano. Sabonis or Tatum? Bill, I'd get both, honestly. I want both in my cash lineup. Notorious, Sabonis or KD for cash? I'd go Sabonis. I'd go KD for tournaments. Any thoughts on Frank Mason? No, I don't have any interest there. I know he got signed by Orlando, but he's going to play 15 minutes, if that. So if you want a tournament, sure. But yeah, Tatum or Sabonis, guys, I'm getting both. I'll tell you right now, both will be in my lineup. So I'm going to say both. I'm not going to pick between the two. They're both very good. So Matt, that's like all the questions we have.
Yeah, I've been multitasking more on this stream than I ever have. So I do apologize, guys, if my attention span has not been fully here. But that being said, it's back on. TJ, I think you can agree. I think it's time to switch over to the Jock Market content.
Yeah. Thoughts on Harden tournament play, Zach? I think he could go for 60. He could go for 40. So tournaments only. Yeah. I think we need to go over to Jock Market now.
All right. So let's do this. So TJ, I've talked about Jock Market enough. Let's hear your take on Jock Market because you've been obsessed. So I want to hear, what your I guess for anybody who doesn't know what it is or how to play, can you go ahead and just tell them, I guess, your breakdown of it?
TJ has to fade Vooch now. Okay, guys. So for those of you who have questions on DraftKings now, we're going to switch over to our portion talking about Jock Market and what exactly it is. So we're going to get a bunch of questions. If you have questions that pertain to Jock Market, and if you haven't downloaded, make sure you do download using DGF50 or DGF. It'll give you a match of $50, up to $50 when you deposit. So we're not going to be answering any YouTube questions. Matt, I don't know if you can change the title.
Yeah, I think I can. I'll go ahead and work on
like Jock Market so that people aren't coming in asking, because I don't want to neglect people, but this is something that we need to talk about.
We'll update stuff. It's a lot of it's a crossover type of DFS data. So I once we hear news on this OKC stuff, TJ, we can actually translate that to some Jock Market content and also DraftKings. So if you guys are still here to hear DraftKings stuff, that's fine. We can still talk about it.
And So Matt, the way that I understand Jock Market, and I've been playing it, I played it last night. I got absolutely smoked because my value plays ended up being terrible, but that is okay. It is a learning process. So Jock Market is essentially stocks meeting DFS.
Yeah.
So the way it works is they have free contest that they run every single night. And I'm only going to talk about Jock Market when it comes to NBA. I'm not going to talk about golf or
and they do run those other sports, as by the way.
Yep, they do run other sports. Correct. Yep. So I'm just going to talk about NBA. So NBA every single night, they run a free contest and they run what they call the daily market for that day. So today would be NBA daily market 2/5. And the way it works, Matt, and actually the market is currently open. So this is actually good. So the market opens at 5:30. I'm not going to talk about the free contest, Matt. I'm going to talk about the open market.
Yep.
So the way the open market works, guys, are there 80 people that are ranked from 1 to 80. And what they do is they have fantasy point projections that they have for each of these guys. So like right now, Giannis is projected to have the most points at 49.77. So he is ranked number 1. Okay. Now, the way that it works is I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. So when you get into the open market, it's called the IPO phase. Mm-hmm. Now, the IPO phase is the initial player offering phase. So when the market opens, the prices update in real time. And so when somebody bids on a specific player, that player's value rises in the market. So let's say hypothetically, Matt, I'm looking at a guy like Isaiah Roby tonight, who's currently ranked 68th on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I wanted to take a guy like Isaiah Roby. The way it would work is I would obviously first have to deposit money into my account. I guess I left that out. You need money in your account to join the open market. If you want to do the free contest, you don't. So if I had interest in a guy like Isaiah Roby, I would click on him. And the way it would work is I could put down a specific set share count on a guy like Isaiah Roby. So if I put Isaiah Roby currently, Matt, for $3 a share, okay? So let me do that right now. I wish everybody could see my screen, but they can't. So $3 a share. It gives you a break-even point. So the way that works is Isaiah Roby's currently ranked 68th. If I do $3 a share, it would imply that my break-even point is currently at number 39. So if Isaiah Roby finishes higher than 39th, I get profit off of that. If Isaiah Roby goes less than 39th, I lose money off of that. Mm-hmm. So for instance, Matt, last night, if I can bring up my contest from last night because it did end, I feel like I'm doing a horrible job of explaining this.
So last night, TJ had specific stock shares in Cam Reddish because he expected Cam Reddish to outperform what was his initial ranking. What was his ranking at? If you could ballpark it, TJ.
Cam Reddish started out, I believe he was 58th on the market. So I was very heavily invested because a guy like Trae Young was out.
Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I think he was. I wish it would show what he was at to start. I need to try and find it.
I think it does if you click on his name.
He closed at 35th.
Okay. So did you make money off him?
Nope, because he ended up finishing 56th.
Okay.
So I ended up losing $14. So guys, when it comes to, so I'm trying to figure out like the best way to explain it. And again, I feel like I'm doing a terrible job, but
No, you're doing fine.
no, I'm doing terrible. Amanda's laughing at me now. So I guess the one thing we forgot, Matt, is you're not really going up against anybody. You're being competitive with the open market on who you want shares of, because if you place a bid on somebody to have a certain amount of shares, you can get outbid and lose shares to that person that bid more money on that specific player that you want. So you're not competing against other people. So like last night,
just like the
Oubre
stock
ended
market,
up being
right?
the number one player on the market. So if you didn't have Oubre, it doesn't mean you necessarily lose money. It just means the people that had invested in a guy like Kelly Oubre, who closed at 24th and finished first, they saw their profits increase immensely because they had Kelly Oubre.
Right.
Just because you don't have Oubre doesn't mean you necessarily lose money. It's all dependent on who you end up having shares of.
Right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So the one thing I want you guys to grasp, and I guess extremely like in layman's terms here, is if you think a player is going to outperform his projections, like every single person has a set projection and what they are in the market. So right now it's ranking 1 through 80th. If you think that person's going to outperform where the ranking is, for instance, tonight, TJ, James Harden is 5th on the list. We have him 2nd overall. So we think right now we're bullish on James Harden because we expect him to be in the top 5, right? Or at least the top 2 is what we have him projected at. So you will make money if he finishes above the top 2 or the top 4. So that's the way you guys need to think of it. And it's a free market. So that's what I love about it, TJ, is you can get in and out of this market whenever you want. You can sell your shares high. Let's say James Harden goes off in the very first half and you're like, well, he's probably not going to do that again for whatever reason. Let's say they're up by like 50 points, right, TJ? You can sell him and you can take that profit based on what people are offering for him. So it's just like the stock market. There's an ask price, there's a bid price. You put in your pre-IPO phase, you bid, you get your shares, ride them up or ride them down. You ride them up, hopefully, and then you sell them off, or you keep them all the way up and you make profit based on how he finishes, just like the regular stock market. So that's how you do it.
So, and the way they judge payouts is they have a valuation. So and that's all. I wish I could show you guys. If you guys can see that, they have a valuations section. And so the way it works is that's basically who gets paid out depending on what position they finish. So if your guy like Kelly Oubre last night ended up having the most fantasy points on Jock Market, it's the same exact DraftKings scoring. It's just you lose 0.5 for every field goal attempt you miss. So that's the only difference between DraftKings scoring and Jock Market scoring. So a guy like Kelly Oubre finished first, Matt, you would get $25 per share on Kelly Oubre. So that's how it works. And they have a system all the way from 1st to 80th. And you talked about the live trading. So when the IPO portion finishes,
by the way, James Harden dropped to 7 for what it's worth.
Yes, he is 7th. Yep. So when the initial player offering phase ends, Matt, that's when you get into so when the market closes, that's when you get into the live trading. So if you still have an available balance and you want to buy and sell shares of players in real time, you can do that while the games are happening. And then the in-game pricing is 100% driven by user activity. So exactly like Matt said, you can trade and buy, and it's all dependent on what people are willing to give up or offer on specific players that they have shares on. And then prices get updated live based on new buys and sell offers and recently completed trades as well, Matt. And the way that works is the trading is open until the last game finishes. So Jock Market's wild. Like I said, I used it last night. I didn't have a good first night, but I think, Matt, utilizing our Patreon sheets that we do have and trying to find some value in,
that's all it is.
Yes, it's exactly projections. Like right now, I'm tinkering and I'm going through like a guy like Darius Bazley, Matt, is projected currently at
that's another great point, TJ. So another great thing about Jock Market, if a player that you bid and you buy on in the market is ruled out, guess what? They refund you, TJ, for that player. So let's hypothetically,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, let's hypothetically say you go to buy him, and let's hypothetically say
I'm buying him right now.
Bazley does get postponed. You immediately get your money back. So let's start.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. And our hats go off to Dave. Dave, I've been in talks with, and he wanted to make sure that was known for all you guys. So let's go ahead and start talking about our favorite plays, TJ. I mentioned one,
Okay.
James Harden. James Harden from 7 to 2. I think he's definitely an undervalued guy. Right now, we haven't projected. It's just James Harden, TJ, right? He has to score points. Like, it's going to be him, Kevin Durant, or Kyrie Irving, so might as well take a stab at James Harden. Right now, they have him 7th. I think he's a great buy low candidate. I'm going to open up my app and see specifically how much you should be bidding on. For all you guys that are listening, I think he's a great buy. Right now, his suggested price is at 6.73. So if you don't want to get outbid, maybe go a little bit higher. I still like that price at 6.73. Let's bid around 7 to 8. I think it's a great buy right now, TJ. And
No, I agree with you, Matt.
yeah, I just think he's undervalued.
Yep, and I think all these OKC guys are currently a little bit undervalued. They have a suggested buy price on a guy like Darius Bazley at $3.50. So of course I'm going to try and go on the cheaper side and see if I can get some cheaper orders on Darius Bazley. So for instance, I just bought 10 shares of Kenrich Williams and Darius Bazley, who are ranked 57th and 48th. And with the shares that I just bought, my implied lines are that Kenrich Williams needs to finish in the top 39 and Darius Bazley needs to finish in the top 30, which I honestly feel pretty confident in if that 8-man rotation, and if they do actually play tonight in terms of OKC. So I love loading up on the OKC guys. And like you said, if that game gets postponed, I get my money back. So I'm not too worried about it. So I currently have $50 in orders right now. And again, just because I bought shares of guys like Darius Bazley and Kenrich Williams does not mean that when the market closes or the IPO phase ends, that I will retain all of those shares because I could get outbid. So having notifications on if you do want to try Jock Market is absolutely huge because the push notifications will show up if you do get outbid on a guy that you were trying to buy low on. I love that you just talked about James Harden. He's currently ranked 7th, Matt. I do think he could easily be somebody that finishes number 1. Bam Adebayo for Miami, currently 8th, going up against Washington. I do like Bam. Right now, if you were to have a buy price, his suggested price is at $6.84. So if you want to go like $7 or $8 a share, he would need your break-even point actually goes backwards, Matt. So I do like a guy like Bam tonight. I think that's a decent play, especially where he is ranked 8th.
I want to hear your thought real quick, TJ. Diallo is right there below him. I think that might be a little crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, that is crazy. I wouldn't go there.
That's a little too overpriced. And we see that, TJ, with a bunch of injuries. Sometimes these guys are a little too overvalued. So
yeah, for sure. Nope. Yep. I mean, and they get adjusted real time, Matt, based on injuries. So with everything going on in OKC, I understand why maybe he would be up there, but 9th is a little crazy.
It is.
Siakam at 23rd.
Okay, you're getting excited. You're starting to rank. You're starting to name off all these
guys.
guys.
I'm gonna deposit right now using DGF 50 and add more money.
Another guy I really like, TJ, that caught my eye. Kawhi Leonard's right there at 13. We know without Paul George, hopefully, I think regardless, he should be scoring a good amount of points because this should be a competitive game versus Boston. Right now, he's 13th without Paul George. We have him ranked all the way up here, and this is actually with Paul George ranked 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th on the list. Right now, he's 13th. So that's a great buy low candidate, especially if Paul George does not play. You can expect him, TJ. I don't think this is a stretch to be in the top 5 for overall scores. So Kawhi Leonard, another great buy low person for this. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are by far my 2 favorite right now. I think the market's a little too bullish on Diallo. I think if you buy him, you need to sell him immediately right when the market opens or relatively close to it. Hopefully you didn't pull the trigger.
No, I agree with you there. No, I did not. I didn't go Diallo. I do have the cheaper guys. And honestly, Matt, I might look Siakam. Ranked Siakam 23rd and Van Vliet 25th right now on the list. And a fantastic matchup against Brooklyn.
Van Vliet's another guy.
Both of them rate out well on our sheet. So I'm looking at that. I'm trying to find Al Horford 37.
The other night, TJ, I told you about this. This guy in the free contest had 98% of his portfolio in Van Vliet, and he ended up winning the whole thing. So, it wasn't even close because he scored 70, how many points he scored, 77.
Matt, we're actually getting a couple questions here. Is the stock market available in Europe?
It is not.
Matt, I don't know, and I don't think
not,
so.
Unfortunately.
So Matt has the answer. No, okay. People I like cheese Guy Boom said, can you win money in the free contest? Yes, you can, Guy Boom. So the way the free contest works is a little bit different than the open market. So there's only 350 spots available in the free contest that they run for NBA. Again, it's players ranked 1 through 80th, and they don't have every single person on the slate, but they do have the 80th most relevant guys to the slate for the people that are playing that night. So the way it works in the free one is you have $250 available to use through the IPO phase and then use after the game's lock to buy and trade with other users. And you get points based off of where the guys that you have shares on finish. And then, it all accumulates at the end of the night. So like Matt alluded to, the guy that actually won when we tried the free contest, I think on Monday, had 98% of his portfolio on Van Vliet when Van Vliet went for 78
the pre-IPO phase too, which is crazy.
Yeah. So
Like,
so
lucky.
he wasn't buying him after lock. Like he had him prior to that game starting. So yes, people, I like Cheese Guy Boom, which I love your YouTube name, and you're always in here. We appreciate the love. You can win money in the free contest. So I would give it a shot, man. I would download the app right now. I'd get into that free contest. You have the $250 to kind of work with and give it a shot and see if it interests you. But like I said, I'm addicted. I literally just deposited more money.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, dude, Kemba, like he's somebody I'm interested. There's a lot of good plays tonight.
And like the one thing I want to add, TJ, yet again, is that you can play with as much or as little money as you possibly want.
Yep.
That's a great thing about
limit.
it. It's a free market. So if I wanted to only play with $1 right now, I could literally play with $1, double your money, triple your money by just investing in a guy. Like we said, James Harden. Imagine just investing $1 in James Harden, watch him go up to the top 5 in scores, and you made your money back and doubled it up. So definitely like that. That feature of the Jock Market. We got a question here about Jock Market. How do you spell what you guys are talking about? It's actually up in the very top right. Jock, JOCK-MKT, Jock Market. Go download it on all of your devices. It's DGF50 is our promo code. You get $50 match bonus when you deposit 50 or more. And do we have any news on OKC, TJ, yet? That's a big question. That's what I'm concerned about right now, of course.
Nope, we don't. We have no news on OKC. Spread really hasn't moved much, man. I mean, it's going to be a crapshoot, but I can't wait to just play. Okay, I just finalized my deposit, so I am going to be...
Oh, we got another question real quick. Nick, you are in the Discord channel. Actually, Jock Market does not have a website. It's just on the app, so I can't unfortunately share my screen. I will actually have to do that at one point, TJ.
Matt, they do have a website, but you can't. Right. I was gonna say you can't use the app like on the website. It's it just explains their It just explains, getting started, the home screen. You can't actually physically go on and use the open market for specific sports on the website. You have to have the app.
But that's a good point. So I actually need to link up my phone at some point to get it so I can stream on it. That might be a little scary, but
yeah, we should have said that. Yeah, guys, this is an app that. It's available in the App Store for Apple users and for Android. So yes, this is an app. It's not a website. You need to download the app in order to play.
And yeah, Dave actually just said not too long ago that this was newly released for the Android. So they've gotten a lot more users ever since they brought that to the Android market. So if you guys are Android users, you're not left behind. Nate says, go join these guys on Patreon. Solid content, can't beat it. I agree. We are in there. We're going to be in there
Thank you, man.
about 20 minutes from now to answer all the questions that you guys have. So if you haven't already signed up for Patreon, we will be doing a mini live stream. It's more of a voice stream in there to answer any questions you guys have.
Oh, man. I just continuously am throwing money.
So, yeah, TJ's going to be throwing all the money he possibly... like I said, TJ, you don't have to worry about the postponement thing because they will refund you. So that strategy does work for Jock Market as well.
I just bought shares of Van Vliet tonight. I'm going to buy some shares of... Who else do I like? Who else tickles my fancy?
Go down lower, TJ, and give me some of your favorite, I guess, punt options for Jock Market, if that's a thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Why would OKC be postponed is a question we just got from Green Wizard. Only 8 available players, and the last player, Malden, that just got ruled out, it was because of health protocols, and that usually doesn't mean anything good, because that usually means somebody is not abiding by the COVID-19 protocol, and that means when one player is doing it, probably other players around the locker room are also not doing that. So definitely keep an eye on that game. If it does get postponed after lock, not good news for OKC.
So, Matt, I just bought some shares of a guy like Fournier, who's currently ranked 40.
He was a 49th. Good buy low the other night.
Yep. I like Baisley 48th right now. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on Mikal Bridges. I'm just getting loose right now, man.
Diversify your portfolio, as they would say back in college, TJ.
Yep. Or you can just stack Van Vliet and see him go for 78 DraftKings points again and then win all the monies. Yeah, I'm really high on buying these guys that are only that are really on the cheaper
Horford
side.
catches
Matt,
my
and
eye
just
as well.
yeah, Horford does. I'm gonna buy a little bit of Siakam, a little bit of Ingram. I mean, I'm just doing
And
everything
just
right
like
now.
that, TJ has $1,000 down the Jock Market.
I am getting close.
Kemba Walker is also not bad at position 42. Yep. Could easily outperform He should outperform Garland, Jarrett Allen, Naz Reid, any one of those guys, TJ. So I do like
don't
him.
Hold your breath. Just bought him.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys are gonna have to outbid TJ for Kemba Walker.
You guys try it out. If you guys in here download a Jock Market using code DGF50 or DGF, whatever one works, and you deposit and you get $50. You get a match of $50 up to if you deposit $50. And you try and outbid me tonight, I will tell you good luck.
Because he's got $1,000 down there.
So much.
Taurean Prince, another guy that we've talked about, TJ, also down there at 64. Okay, you've already bought him? Probably.
Yep, bought him. No, I have. So Matt, right now I have 7 orders. Oh my God. I have 5 shares right now of Siakam. My bid is $3.50. I would assume that gets beat, but we're gonna try it. I have 5 shares currently bid down on Fred VanVleet at $4 a share. Kemba Walker at 6 shares at $3.50. I have Bazley 10 shares right now at $3. Fournier, I bought 6 shares at $3. Mikal Bridges, I bought 5 shares.
Mark just got print shares. Congrats.
And then Kenrick Williams, 10 shares at $2. So those are the 7 guys that I bought. I blinked and have $137 down tonight in Jock Market. Amanda might have heard that, but that's okay. It's my money.
There you go.
So yeah, that's Mark got some print shares. Love that, Mark. I'm scared of Kemba sometimes. So yeah, no, Jack, I agree with you there. I am too. Yeah, Mark, it does seem pretty easy. If you're into stocks, man, I think it's a really easy transition.
That's something we always talk about in Discord now. It's becoming a stock channel because everybody's talking stock market.
It is slowly but surely, Matt. And yeah, I think so. So basically, you just want guys to outperform where you buy them, depending on how much share or how much money you put down per share. So we got a starting lineup from the Thunder, Matt. Diallo, Williams, Roby, Bazley, and Horford. So it kind of looks like that game is going to be good to go, guys. So
my strategy is even more viable then.
Give me all the OKCs. I want all of them.
Yeah, guys, we are very bullish on OKC overall.
They're starting Isaiah Roby at the 3. That is insane. Okay, I'm buying shares of Isaiah Roby. That's it. That's it.
Oh man. That being said, I still think James Harden is getting crazy overlooked. Probably my favorite option on the slate now at 7.
Okay, well, I love Isaiah Roby now, and I just bought shares of him because
one of those guys. The one saving grace for OKC is that they're playing Minnesota, so one of those guys absolutely has to have ceiling potential, like have a ceiling game. So Diallo is definitely the top candidate for that. I'd say Al Horford has a great shot at that. TJ, a great matchup versus Naz Reid.
Hey Amanda, I just put $160 down on Jock Market. Okay, she said okay, so we're good, guys. We're in the clear. Start naming players. I need my lineup. Man, Brian, come on, dude.
Yeah, real quick, TJ. We have about we're gonna be staying live for about 3 to 5 more minutes, and then have to go update all the Patreon stuff, and then go to to the Discord. Huge shout out to Jock Market for sponsoring this stream. If you guys haven't already, DGF50. Also, real quick, another plug. We have just become an affiliate of SuperDraft. The link is below in the description. If you guys use that link, a $500 bonus up to $500 when you sign up with them. They're literally giving away free money. It's a 50% match bonus, so you go all the way up to $1,000 and then you get $500 back. Absolutely like a phenomenal format when it comes to Super Draft. There's no salaries. It's a multiplier type DFS app, and there's a ton of overlay over there right now. They just partnered with Caesars Entertainment, one of the top gambling and gambling casinos out there. So definitely a great future for them as well. So which is a huge reason why we are an affiliate with Super Draft. So if you guys want to sign up, go ahead and head to the link and then follow that and sign up. So a lot of good things happening here on DGF.
How much is Vooch? Is he?
Vooch is very expensive. He's the second highest on the. He's up there.
No, I meant on.
We have talked about DK. We talked about them for about 30 to 45 minutes, and we did give a cash core. We will reiterate that before we get off, guys. Diallo, Justin Jackson for me. Also, Vucevic and Bazley are going to be in my core. The OKC guys are on an 8-man rotation. Because of that, just very, very thin. It's expected to have a ton of minutes between all the starters. Right now, TJ Diallo showing 75.7% ownership and Justin Jackson at 71.2% ownership.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, let's transition back to DK for 2 more minutes, Matt. Everybody is harping in on us saying we're not giving DK enough time. Guys, we did cover DK. That was the first portion of the stream. We had to talk about Jock Market. And now we can just answer a couple quick questions. In terms of cash, you're stacking OKC. You're going Diallo, Baisley, Kendrick Williams' ownership is going to skyrocket as well. Only an 8-man rotation, so I'm going to be heavy on OKC, especially in my one lines. And then for fillers, Matt, I like Kemba, I like Vooch, I like Tatum, I like Sabonis, Brogdon, Siakam, Van Vliet. Stack those guys with OKC, and that is what you're going to want to do tonight. I mean, I'm probably going to have 4 to 5 potentially of these OKC guys in my main one lineup. If you want to get different, you can fade them, but good luck there. So yes, OKC is where you want to go tonight. Baisley or Horford, both. I would go Baisley, though, because he is a little cheaper. We are, come on. Oh, man. Jack, really, man? We're ungrateful and don't listen sometimes. It's cool. Okay. Well,
wow.
You know what, Jack? I am not going to answer your question about DeLon Wright from Detroit. So that is how we're going to play that. Diallo at point guard. Let's go. Start naming guys. I need
As
my
we give
lineup,
this
man.
all
we're
away for free,
ungrateful.
guys. We have
Yes,
all this.
and
We're
we're
doing this
ungrateful.
all
Okay.
for free. This is a free live stream, so.
But we're the ungrateful ones, Matthew.
And I
Will
just wanna
Roby
also
get more of an
reiterate-
ownership now?
Okay.
Yeah, Wayne. I think he's gonna just move past it. No,
Jack.
not y'all. Okay,
yeah,
it's not
okay.
us, okay.
Yeah, take it back. Answer his question real
Jack.
quick. Sorry.
Jack, what was your question again? What do you think of Wright from
DeLon
Detroit?
Wright from Detroit.
I like Jeremy Grant more of a tournament play. Sorry, I guess we are assholes.
Yeah, TJ is.
Yeah, I am an ass. Sorry. The Russian customers, I love you. Thank you, Jack. We appreciate it. Drummond, 13.5 rebounds. He's talking about you. Yeah, guys, I'm an asshole. I know. I'm sorry. Williams or Roby? I like Kendrick Williams. But they're both starting, so I like them both. I'm going to have them both in my lineup. I'll tell you that right now. Now I feel like a dick.
Yeah, it's all right.
Sorry, guys. I'm on edge. All right, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. This is our first sponsored live stream, so take it easy.
Who, me or them?
Everybody, actually.
Me, yeah.
both them and you.
They like
TurboTax free edition. That's hilarious. I actually had to upgrade mine this year.
Yeah, I do too.
That sucks.
Drummond, 13.5 rebounds tonight. I'm just a little. I always get weary of Drummond's minutes. Matt, Drummond's pegged at 28 minutes, and I think he's a really good play at those minutes. So if he can play more, like I do like him, I think he can get over 13.5 rebounds tonight against the Bucks. I'm just worried they get absolutely smoked, and he only plays like 22 minutes. But if they're competitive, he's good. Maladin out. Yes, Maladin is out. J3, I can start talking about chips for sure, baby. Roby over Jackson. We're gonna get a bunch of questions about OKC, Matt. And before we get off, so the starting lineup that we do have now for OKC is going to be Diallo. It is Kendrick Williams, Baisley, Roby, and Al Horford. I would honestly have 4 of those guys in my one line. Right now, I'm trying to build with Diallo, Kendrick Williams, Baisley, and Roby. I like those cheaper options, but I do want to make Sabonis, Vooch, and Tatum a priority. So that's personally what I'm going to be doing. So to try and pick like Justin Jackson, I think somebody asked between Horford, locks, and cash. Colin, yeah, you can definitely say Horford is a play in cash. I don't know if I'm going to have Horford, but I do like him. I kind of like the other guys because they are cheaper. Kendrick Williams still playing, even though he's not starting. Kendrick Williams is starting.
So
Kendrick Williams is starting at the 2.
TJ, we're going to answer a few more questions on Discord, and then I'll go ahead and get off. I don't want to leave the Discord guys hanging.
Someone just outbid me on Kemba. Who was it?
It's somebody from this stream. Kemba, Levine, Kendrick Williams, Sabonis, Vooch, Diallo, Roby, Baisley. I really like that lineup. I think that's more GPP, though, because Levine's going to be lower owned. However, I do think he's a great play. Nick, you said the code isn't working. If it's not working, DGF works as well for that $50 bonus. DGF 50 is working, though, for a majority of people. Make sure it's capitalized, I would say. Cash, Sabonis, or Tatum? That's a great question, TJ. Sabonis or Tatum?
Both.
Okay.
I'm not picking one. I'm having both in my lineup. You should too. That's it. Have both.
And then Trent said, personally, I'm going with Sabonis in the higher over-under. I can get behind that. I think Sabonis is a very obvious option.
I'm getting out.
And then that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off because I have to update all the Patreon content, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being patient with us. 195 of all of you guys. Thank you so much. TJ, thanks for hanging in there and explaining Jock Market. We are definitely going to be putting out more content on YouTube a little bit later this weekend, guys. Also look out for some Super Draft content. Also a Super Bowl live stream out here, TJ. Is that true? Well, maybe it's in the discussion, so it might happen, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and with all that being said, have a great rest of your night, and let's cash.
Mark, stop outbidding me on my guys.